Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Khoj Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. Our recitation today is Sri Rag Mahalla Tija. Haumai Karam Kamavade, Jam Dand Lage Tane Aaye, Je Satgur Sevan Se Ubare, Har Seti Levelaye, Man Re, Gurmukh Naam Te Aaye, Tur Purb Karte Likhya, तिना गुरमत नाम समाए रहाओ विण सतगुर पर तीत न आवई नाम न लागो पाओ सुपने सुख न पावई दुख में सवै समाए जे हर हर कीचे बहुत लोचिया कीर्तन मेटिया जाए हर का पाणा भगति मन्या से भगत पए दरथाए गुर शब्द दृढ़ावे रंग स्यों बिन कृपा लाया ना जाए जे सौ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਨੀਰੀਐ ਵੀ ਭਿਖ ਫਲ ਲਾਗੇ ਧਾਏ ਸੇ ਜਨ ਸੱਚੇ ਨਿਰਮਲੇ ਜਿਨ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਨਾਲ ਪਿਆਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਕਾ ਭਾਣਾ ਕਮਾਵੰਦੇ ਵਿਖ ਹਉਮੈ ਤਜ ਵਿਕਾਰ ਮਨ ਹਟ ਕਿਤੇ ਉਪਾਇ ਨ ਛੁੱਟੀਐ ਸਿਮਰਤ ਸ਼ਾਸਤਰ ਸੋ ਦੋ ਜਾਏ ਮਿਲ ਸੰਗਤ ਸਾਧੂ ਉਬਰੇ ਗੁਰ ਕਾ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਕਮਾਏ ਹਰ ਕਾ ਨਾਮ ਨਿਧਾਨ ਹੈ ਜਿਸ ਅੰਤ ਨ ਪਾਰਾਵਾਰ ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਸੇਈ ਸੋਹਦੇ ਜਿਨ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੇ ਕਰਤਾਰ ਨਾਨਕ ਦਾਤਾ ਏਕ ਹੈ ਦੂਜਾ ਔਰ ਨ ਕੋਏ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦੀ ਪਾਈਐ ਕਰਮ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਹੋਏ. Now in this passage we speak to Haumai, the sense of I or the ego and its toxicity that restricts us and in fact imprisons us. Haumai Karam Kamavade, Jam Dand Lage Tin Aaye. Jam Dand, from the words Jam and Danda. Jam or Yam, as it is also sometimes referred to, is a reference to the messenger of death. And it's also called Kal, which is the space-time continuum that we live in. So Jam Dand literally means the stick or the staff of the Lord of Death, or the space-time continuum that governs the material world. And so Haumai is at its very root spiritual ignorance, which is a misapprehension of the true nature of existence. The true nature of existence in the material world is one of impermanence. But the ego, or Haumai, seeks permanence, and that is essentially the ignorance, the root of the ignorance. What happens then is that space-time becomes the invisible prison or punishment of impermanence because we are constantly grasping for permanence. So the Haumai-centered mind is caught in this self-perpetuating cycle. So therefore, the Guru is saying that those who act out of Haumai, this sense of ego, or this perception, are subjected to this self-inflicted and self-perpetuating cycle of impermanence. So in other words, they are subjected to a conditioned or self-limiting existence. Durpurab karte likhya tina gurmat naam samaye. Now here, Durpurab karte likhya would translate as, in the beginning it was written by the Creator. This implies that human life was intended for a purpose, namely the realization of the self, the Creator within us. In other words, to understand that our true essence is eternal, that we are not subjected, our true selves are not subjected to the time-space continuum. That really is the purpose of life. And so those who are motivated will adopt the doctrine of the Guru Enlightener. Tina Gurmat Naam Samai. In other words, they go by the guidance of the Guru. The Guru Enlightener simply means the principle of eternal wisdom that is always with us. It is a matter of recognizing it, and in order to recognize it, we need Naam, knowledge of the self, or even the self itself, to become like the self, Samai, comes from saman, which means to become like. So in order to become self-realized, one has to do nam tyai. We have to turn our attention, shift our attention inwards. Har ka pana bhakti manya se bhakt paye dar thai. Dar thai, successful, you reach your goal only if har ka pana manya, bhakti manya, through bhakti. True bhakti, which is devotion in a relationship, means acceptance. Har ka pana manya. Har ka pana means accepting the will of the Creator, which in other words means accepting life as it is played out, not to force the situation. This sense of acceptance is key and the underlying tenet of Sikhi. Now, it's easy to intellectually grasp this and say, well, accept things as they come, but it's not that easy to practice it or to even change the underlying sense of the world that we have. So clarity on Pana, or what the divine will, is as important as it is to understand the notion of what Satgur is. And we will find that some of these very fundamental terms will recur over and again. So it's extremely important to understand these concepts. Jeso amrit niriya bhi phik phal lai. The point being made here is that no amount of any other method, for want of a better word, is going to actually make a difference. So the example being given here is that the plant that is poisonous, even if it is watered with nectar, will always bear a poisonous fruit. Why? Because the rest of the plant, by its structure, is toxic. So our actions are similarly poisonous, meaning limiting or selfish, because we are toxic with the stain of Haumai. So no amount of external aid, religious practice, can restructure or reprogram the internal organization of a Haumai-centric mind. How does that happen? Mil sangat sadhu ubre, gur ka sabad kamaye. Only in the association of the sadhu can the enlightening wisdom free one's mind from Haumai. So the word sadhu is another one of those words that has many connotations in different religious systems of India, and oftentimes the usage becomes intermingled. Sadhu has been used for the incarnation of Shiva in the Shaivite traditions, to the Digambar of the Jains, to the ascetic of the Siddhas, and the term also implies a state of spiritual attainment. It also refers to the quality of goodness, virtue, excellence. In Sikhi, when we interpret Gurbani, the word sadhu as a singular is usually pointing to the master or even the historical gurus, the individuals in whom eternal wisdom was fully manifest. So Sangat here could read excellent company or desirable, in the excellent company of the master, that you find, that you engage with the Shabad, the discourse of the Creator, and that enables you to see through the impermanent character of our worldly existence. But it also enables you to see that your true essence is really untouched by this. So identify with your authentic nature. That is the sum message of this Shabad. With those thoughts, until we meet again, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.